Hello everyone, it's me, your host, not Seth, and today I got done seeing Godzilla -1 2 weeks ago, and I decided, you know what, I should be the first to actually power scale him. Correctly anyway. I know Goji Center said, Goji Center things, but we're gonna take an actual in-depth look into -1's capabilities. So to begin, let's talk about physicality. While he doesn't have too much in terms of displays of strength, he does have a few interesting things. One is that he is able to completely destroy 5 buildings with one tail swipe. Granted, 2 of these buildings are much smaller than himself, but they're about half his size, so we can say it amounts to about 4 50-meter buildings. The novelization specifically says he turned them into ash, which means that we could assume he pulverized them. That amount results in multi-city block level energy with just a single tail swipe. Pretty impressive, although we might have to take a little bit away considering he clawed up one of the buildings a bit earlier. In terms of his durability, obviously he had to have survived his own tail swipe. It's not like it broke off. But his skin can be pierced, at least a little bit, by strong battleships like the Takao, as it's specifically mentioned by the character Doc in the film. However, that's kind of irrelevant because of the fact Godzilla's -1 can regenerate at an absurd rate. Despite his fairly mediocre durability, it doesn't really matter because of his impressive regeneration ability. Half of his face was blown off by a mine detonating inside of it, and then Godzilla was briefly taken down for all of 10 seconds before he just regrew all the flesh and was good as new. This regeneration is a consistent plot point within the film itself, to the point that it even comes up at the end. However, there is a limit to this regeneration. It's not like he can just respawn his entire body like Majin Buu or Perfect Cell in mere seconds. It does take a while for him to regrow a large chunk of his flesh. However, as shown in the end of the film, the chunks of flesh to regenerate all on their own, that he can reform his entire body fairly quickly. Even losing his head wasn't too big of an issue. As the novelization goes on to explain, the reason Godzilla crumbled into dust is because his own atomic breath turned on him from the inside when his head was detonated. Now for what you all been waiting for. His impressive nuclear atomic breath. How powerful is this thing really? I saw a Twitter post by D-Man resulting in it being about 550 kilotons or large town level, but due to canon information, we can actually get it quite a bit higher. The novelization specifically says that the devastation goes for roughly 6 kilometers and get a resulting explosion of 5.7 megatons just for that nuclear shockwave. Since another half of the energy is the heat and the radiation, this actually bumps -1's AP to over 11 megatons. And if you think that's too high, not only is he specifically stated to be the 3rd nuclear bomb and generate unprecedented levels of destruction, which up to that point would only include kiloton weapons, but even just destroying the Takao itself would already be a town level feat, and Godzilla did that with ease. There's also a 3rd blast in the film, although because no good footage of this exists, it's basically impossible to calculate it correctly. So we have -1 at least town level with his atomic breath, if not all the way up to city level. I think that's a fine range for him. In terms of his speed, we can also assume, based on the distance his breath shoots, that it's at least supersonic, but numerous statements confirm that it is a beam of light, and since it is radiation, explained to be functioning in the same way as a nuclear bomb, we can assume it's at least as fast as a nuclear explosion, if not even up to light speed. As for his hacks, we covered his impressive regeneration ability, his radiation manipulation, and quite possibly an impressive adaptability. Now, because of his impressive regeneration, he's able to withstand things much higher than what his normal durability would be. Hypothetically, how much energy would it take to actually kill -1? If we roughly assume that his tower-destroying, plane-crushing, smaller form is about building level, and we know that the Operation Crossroads nuclear bombs he took were 20 kilotons, we can scale up to the multi-city block physically Godzilla and get a rough estimate of between 50 to 100 plus megatons, meaning you would maybe need the Tsar Bomba to actually wipe him out. So despite lacking physical prowess, he's basically impossible to murder if you're any lower than mountain level. And who knows, when he comes back eventually he might be even more powerful. Sorry this one's kinda short, but -1 doesn't do all that much that's, too noteworthy. Thank you all for watching.